Would you like to learn how to access and work with your very own Akashic Records, your soul's library of all lifetimes? Do you feel called to actually work with the Akashic Records? In this video today, I want to share with you a step-by-step process of how you can start working with your own Akashic Records, how to access your records, and how to start asking the questions to receive the guidance. Because working with the Akashic Records is absolutely amazing. Your life can change in ways you never thought possible once you're really tapping into the infinite knowledge and wisdom that can be found within the Akashic Records. And that's what I want to teach you in this video, is on how can you access your very own Akashic Records for guidance, for insights, for your life, for whatever area, whatever questions that you have. You can get an answer within the Akashic Records as it relates to you, your path, your life, your past, your present, and even your future. So in order to access your Akashic Records, there are a couple of things that you will need. First, you want to know, well, what area do you want to focus on? You want to come prepared, basically. You want to have somewhat of an idea, well, why are you going to the Akashic Records? Do you want to find out about your life purpose, about past lives, about your soul's origin, about, what is holding you back, any area of your life, about love, about relationship, about health, wealth, whatever. You want to have somewhat of an idea of, well, why do you want to go into the Akashic Records? For every session, actually, whenever you want to do an Akashic Record reading for yourself or a session for yourself, you want to know, well, why are you accessing the records for that session? So you want to come prepared. You then also want to have some questions prepared as well, because when it comes to the Akashic Records, it's about, you want to do it in a conscious approach, asking questions. Because if you only access the Akashic Records and you're just standing there like, hello, I'm here, I'm not sure what to do, you're actually missing the potential of what you can really get from doing a reading for yourself. So you want to prepare some questions, and here, the more specific the questions, the more specific the guidance and the insights you will receive. So come prepared, maybe have like 3 to 5 questions or more if you want. Just know that the more questions you have, the longer you will be in the Akashic Records, because it will take some time for you to really receive the guidance. But you want to come prepared by having some specific questions outlined before you even enter the Akashic Records. Then what you need is you need to have somewhat of an access and closing prayer. Now, I have one right here that I'm going to share with you. I will then put the different parts on the screen so you can write it down if you would like. But you will need the access prayer that will help you to access your Akashic Records. And then you also need the closing prayer that will then help you to close your Akashic Records. And here, closing the Akashic Records is absolutely important. Because if you don't, and you're still having your foot in the door of the Akashic Records, it can actually interfere with your life, because the Akashic Records is just in a higher level frequency. And when it can be very taxing for you if you're doing a reading for yourself anyway. So if you're not closing the records all the way, and you're still somewhat attached to the Akashic Records, having it somewhat open, it can really interfere with your day where you're feeling drained, exhausted, because you're still attached to a higher level frequency, and your physical body can simply not hold it for that long. So just be aware, you want to make sure to close your records all the way. Also, you don't really want to do a reading for yourself during meditation or as you're falling asleep, because when you want to do this more on in a conscious approach, right? You want to go in, you want to ask the questions. Ideally, you want to be sitting up, whether it's like having your pen and paper, and that's also one thing you need, a pen and paper or your notebook handy, so you can write down notes. Or you can, in a way, do it in a meditative kind of state where you're just closing your eyes, tuning in, but don't lay down, because you don't want to fall asleep. Because that goes back to what I just said about closing your records. Because if you're falling asleep while you are still in the Akashic Records, it can really interfere with your sleep. You can have some really off-the-wall kind of dreams, because you're still in the Akashic Records. You're tapping into your soul's library of all lifetimes. So it could be that you're picking up on different lifetimes, different interferences, and all of those different things. So you then may wake up extremely tired, extremely exhausted, exhausted. So that's why I do not recommend doing it in a meditative state where you may then drift off and fall asleep, or even just laying down and then you end up falling asleep. You really want to do this in an approach where you're really consciously aware of what is going on. But these are the things that you need. So you need to come prepared, have your pen and paper ready, have your questions ready, have that access and closing prayer with you, because that will then help you really tuning into the records and then also closing it. So that's what you need to do to really get started. Now, let me share with you the process of really accessing your Akashic Records. Ideally, before you then start. Now, of course, you want to go somewhere where you can be undisturbed, have your pen and paper handy, have your questions with you, and also the access and closing prayer. Then what you want to do is you will really want to set the intention. You want to tune in. You want to get centered. You want to calm down your mind. You want to set the intention. I now prepare myself to access my Akashic Records. You can even call up on your team of guides to please step forward, to connect with you, to assist you, to also help you release your ego for the time being, so you can really be that clear channel to your own Akashic Records. So it's like this, you're setting the stage before you even start accessing the records. Then the next part is you want to then read the access prayer. So I'm going to put it here on the screen. Feel free to write it down so you can then practice that yourself later on if you so choose, if you would like. So the access prayer goes like this. If you can see on the screen that there are two sections, two parts to that access prayer, the opening prayer. One is the intention, and then the second part is the actual access prayer. So the intention, it really sets the stage. It also helps you to protect yourself and really prepares you to access the Akashic Records. That part you only read once. You can do that out loud or in your mind. I prefer to do it in my mind. Then the second part is the access prayer. You read that 3 times, and you're then also, where it says your name, you put your first and last name. You can even do first, middle, last. So I'm just going to read it once, but just know that the access prayer you would actually read 3 times. And with each repetition, each time you're reading it, it will help you then really tune in more. And when you're reading the prayer, you really want to do this with intention. That is really key. You want to read the prayer with intention. So let me just read this to you once. I now call upon the highest, best, most loving beings of the light that can best support me now in preparing myself for this journey of accessing my Akashic Records. Please help me remove what no longer serves me, such as hidden beliefs, doubts, blocks, outdated programming, and any other limitations and interferences as I access my Akashic Records today. Please wrap me in an orb of white light and keep me guided, guarded, and protected as I make this journey into the Akashic realms, and so it is. So here you're really setting the intention. Now you're reading the access prayer 3 times, and like I said, I'm just going to do it once. Divine Masters of the Akashic Records, please help me to fully center myself in this present moment as I create the sacred space and prepare myself to access the Akashic Records for, you want to use your name, Divine Masters of the Akashic Records, I ask that you show me what it feels like to be a clear channel to your name, Akashic Records, and guide me to receive the guidance, the insights, and the healing that is to my highest good at this time. I now ask the Divine Masters of the Akashic Records to open the records for your name and to show me the truth of my soul. Like I said, that part you will read 3 times. And with each time, you may notice that you're being uplifted more. You're shifting into a different frequency. You should feel something. And if you don't, it's perfectly fine. You may not feel so much. You may just then have that experience. Maybe you're seeing something. Now, after a 3rd time, you should feel that shift, or you should become aware of that shift, that you have access to Akashic Records. You may then actually see like a door or a library or whatever you will experience. Now, your experience may be different from everyone else's, so just be okay with whatever you're experiencing will be just fine, because it is your own unique soul's library, okay, your own Akashic Records. And also depending on if you're very sensitive, like if you're seeing a lot, if you're more sensing, if you're more have that inner knowing, it really depends on how you really receive guidance. So it may differ for you. But once you then feel that shift, you then also can double check, Am I now in my Akashic Records? Have I accessed my Akashic Records, or are my records open now? That can give you somewhat of a confirmation that yes, you are really in the records. Now, let's say you don't get any information, or you're getting like a no, or you didn't feel that shift. Then you may want to reread that access prayer again with more intention and really intending that yes, I'm going to access my Akashic Records. But let's say you are in the Akashic Records, you got the confirmation that yes, you are in the records, then what you should see or what you should feel or become aware of is that there is a record keeper right at the entry of the records, of the Akashic Records. That's one of the Akashic Record keepers. Now, they will assist you throughout your journey of working with the Akashic Records. So here you want to greet the record keepers and then state your intention. I'm here for X, Y, and Z. I'm here to do some inner healing. I'm here to work with my karmic field. I'm here to uncover my soul's purpose, whatever it is. Or I'm just here to receive guidance. I'm just here to check things out, if you would like, right? But you want to set your intention, because think of it like that. It would be kind of rude if you just kind of go in and then you're standing there, right? So you just want to greet them and let them know your intention of why you're here, and then ask their assistance to assist you in performing this reading, in receiving the guidance, the insights, and doing whatever it is that you came here to do, whether it's healing or just getting insights. Then you start asking your questions. Start asking one question at a time. So you ask your question and then you wait. You wait for the response. Now you can do this in writing, or you can do this just by being in your mind and then waiting to receive the insights from the guides. Now here you may get it actually in words, like you're actually hearing the words, or if you're writing it, you may start doing automatic writing. Or if you're not if you're more visual, you may start seeing images and you're receiving guidance in that way. In whatever way it works for you and that you're most in alignment with, you wouldn't receive that guidance. And then you ask the next question, and also you wait until you receive the guidance, and then you ask the next and the next. You always can also ask follow-up question to your initial question as well. So if you're receiving guidance and it doesn't quite make sense, or you're not quite sure what to make of it, you can ask follow-up questions to clarify, well, what exactly does that mean? Or what else am I supposed to know about this? How else is this showing up in my life? Things like that. So you want to ask one question at a time and you receive the guidance. And then when you complete for the session, when you're like, okay, I got all the answers that I want, or you're just feeling that, because being in the Akashic Records is very taxing to your physical body and also your consciousness, especially in the beginning, until you really work your way up to really being able to stay in the records for longer, until you're really able to hold that frequency for a longer period of time. So just whenever you feel like, okay, I'm done for the session, what you want to do is you want to thank the guides, because they assisted you, right? You want to thank the guides, and then you're reading the closing prayer. So I'm going to put this on the screen so you can write that down. So the closing prayer, you only read once, but also with intention. You want to also maybe visualize you then actually closing a book, closing a door, or something like that. Because if you don't close your records all the way, it can really mess with your energy, with your day. It's not going to feel very comfortable. It will be very draining if you're still attached to, you have like one foot in the door of the Akashic Records. So you want to read the closing prayer. So here it goes. Thank you, Divine Masters of the Akashic Records, for the unconditional love, the healing, and the wisdom I have received today. Please assist me in returning fully and completely into my human wholeness in this time and space. And please assist me in integrating the insights I have received today by removing any resistance and trusting the guidance I received. I now ask that you close and lock the Akashic Records for your name for now. And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, what you can do is, and here, you should then feel somewhat that you kind of coming back into your body, or you kind of like feeling like, you're feeling that energetic shift that, okay, now you're no longer in the Akashic Records. You may also maybe hear a book closing or a door closing or whatnot. But here you really want to intend, you're closing the door, you're closing the book. If you feel like, okay, you're still somewhat attached, you can reread the last part about, I now ask that you close and lock the Akashic Records. Just that last sentence, really read that again, and then with more emphasis that I'm closing the records. Your intention is really important and powerful. But you wanted to really close, and you can also check in again. Are my records now closed? And if you get a yes, perfect. You can then go about your day. If you're getting a no, then you do a little bit more work to really intend, I'm closing my records. And then once you're out, once you have closed your records, then you may want to journal. Write down any insights that you have gotten, unless you've already done it in writing. If you did automatic writing to get your questions answered, then you don't have to do it, but you may then want to go over what you have, what guidance that you have received. Because one thing that I found for myself is, whenever I do a reading for myself, when I'm in the records, I channel, I do automatic writing, I write everything down, and then most of the time I forget everything that I have written, or I just remember bits and pieces. So afterwards I reread what I have written to remind myself, okay, this was the guidance that I received. So you may want to do that too, or if you just did it in your mind during a meditative state, you then want to just write down any guidance that you remember about the questions that you had asked. But that's basically the simple step-by-step process of how you can work with your Akashic Records. And if you want to really learn the more detailed process of how to go about this, also how to ask the right kind of questions, I want to invite you to join me in a 6-day free training series where I will teach you step by step how to really work with your Akashic Records. Now, this was just like a summary, so to speak, but in that 6-day training series, I will guide you step by step on how to do it, and also how to overcome your ego, because that will be the biggest hurdle that you have to overcome, because you already know how to access your records. I mean, it's your soul's library, so it's already part of you. You have just forgotten. And if you're trying to receive guidance, but it's spotty, or you're not getting the guidance, it's not because you can't do this, you're not good enough, or you're not meant to be doing this. No, it simply means that your ego is too much in the driver's seat, blocking the guidance from flowing. So during that 6-day training series, I will also teach you and guide you how to overcome your ego before you access the records, and also what to do when you're in the records, when you're really in the middle of receiving guidance and all of a sudden your ego is having a little fun with you. I will guide you through how to overcome your ego. So if that is of interest to you, I want to invite you, join me for the 6-day journey. There's a link in the description below. You can sign up and get started right away with the very first lesson. But like I said, this is the process of how to work with the Akashic Records. I really hope you enjoyed this. Now I want to invite you, give this a try. Give this a try, and then maybe feel free to let me know, how did it go, or are you already actually working with the Akashic Records? I would love to know. Leave me a comment below, let me know. So thank you so much for being here, and be sure to check out this video here. It's about how to unlock your life purpose through the Akashic Records. And I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Until then, make an amazingly abundant and joyful day. Namaste.